Hi, I'm Rocky. Welcome to Moonlit Metamorphosis. And if you feel you've had trouble learning to love yourself, then this video is for you. So this is going to be like a little ramble sesh. I want to talk a little bit about my childhood and a few other things. So, how do I start this? I want to talk about things that stuck with me growing up as to the reason why I felt unlovable. So, I'm going to start off with the very first thing I can remember. When I was a child, it was a little boy that I liked. And I don't exactly know how he found out that I liked him. I don't know if I told him or somebody else told him, but I started to get teased. And you know, kids will be kids. A lot of kids ain't thinking about crushes and all that shit, but I had a crush and everyone around us teased me about it, saying that I was ugly and whatnot. At least that's what I pictured it as. I could be exaggerating with it, but yeah, so I ran home and that was like the first time I felt like I wasn't loved. And the thing is, my parents showed me love. It was just outsiders that made me feel that way. And, you know, another incident where I had a friend in elementary school who wrote a fake. I went to the bathroom one day. It was the day before Valentine's Day. Yeah. And so after coming back from the bathroom, I had a letter sitting at my desk. And the letter was saying it was from a secret admirer. I'm like excited because I'm like, what? A guy likes me? So I kept getting letters throughout the day. And by the next day, I had this cute little headband. Apparently, he's supposed to have gotten it for me for Valentine's Day. And then my friend was like, ha, kidding. I'm the one who wrote those letters and gave you that headband. Ha ha ha. And it stuck with me. I still remember it vividly because that was a second incident where I felt like, damn, am I that unloved that you gotta prank me and shit? But yeah, it was a crazy childhood. I felt I wasn't a confident child. I was very shy to myself. I mentioned a few times that I liked being invisible, and I think it had a lot to do with my weight. I didn't like being out there because I didn't like being the butt of a joke. I didn't. I was a very sensitive child. I'm still sensitive. By the time I got to high school, I felt like I was finally coming out of my shell just a little bit. I got into a performing arts school, and it was for singing. And I felt I was coming out of my shell a little bit. I was happy going to that school. Then I got sick. I got ITP, immune. Ooh. It is a blood disorder that affects the platelets. My platelets were fighting my white blood cells to the point that my blood No, sorry, my white blood cells was fighting my platelets. Well, it's the same. And my blood wasn't able to clot because my white blood cells were mistaking my platelets for germs, I guess, and they were eating my platelets. Um, that happened probably the first week I went to school. Probably like the first week, what happened was I walked upstairs. We couldn't use the elevator, so I had to walk up to, I forgot how many floors was in that building, but I just know that my neck was throbbing, and for some reason, I got sick after that. I got really sick after that, and they wanted to take my spleen out, but they told me it was like a 50% chance that it would work. So I just didn't, and I was sick until I was 25. That's a long story. I'll have to tell you guys about that another time. But during that time, I was in DSA for about a year, but I couldn't do any of the activities, so I ended up having to drop out. I couldn't stay there. I got homeschooled for a while, and I was just such a lonely teenager. I was angry, I was bitter, and I was just lonely, and I felt even more unloved. Like, me and my best friend at the time was having issues, and I take on most of the blame for that because I was an angry teen, and being cooped up, not being able to do what you love, because I don't know, I thought maybe I was going to become a singer. I was there at that school for singing, but I really wanted to go for journalism, but that's something else. But so therapy, despite me being, I took therapy, but it just wasn't helping. It was literally like they would give me graduate students, and that's not bad. That's not bad at all. But I couldn't keep one therapist. It would always be a therapist that's there for graduate school, and then they are done with their internship or something and they leave. And I'm like, I was just getting to know this therapist, and now I can't. Yeah. And also, they thought a lot of my problems had to do with my weight. I don't know. Maybe it did. I feel like it did a little bit, but not to the extent where that's all we talk about in our sessions. It was crazy. I was getting really annoyed with that. Like, therapy was just not helping me at all as a kid. And you know, life wasn't that bad. It was just amplified by the depression. Because at first, I feel like I was depressed most of my life, but when you become a moody teenager, that crap is just out the door, is literally amplified. And despite all of that, how lost I felt, I feel more lost today than I did when I was a kid. Because at least I knew where I was, and both parents were still alive. It was crazy. Well, it wasn't that crazy, but yeah. Anyway, that's what I realized why I didn't love myself as much. And yeah, like I said, this is just a ramble sesh. What didn't you love about yours? What don't you love about yourselves? And what are you learning to love about yourself? And how are you combating that loveless monster that's stuck on your back? All right. I guess that's all I want to talk about today. You guys have a good one. See you next week or see you tomorrow.